Hey everybody, welcome to my Pink Room of Doom. I hope you're doing well today. My name is Jonathan from the YouTube channel Electric Flamingo, and you are watching Home Rig Share. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I'm really excited to get into it, but before we do, I just want to say thank you so much to Paul at Home Rig Share for giving me the opportunity to be here and to do this video. Of course, I said yes when he asked me because I really like to discuss gear. I really like to talk about it. I like to play for you guys, and I like to kind of show off my room because it's pretty unique. So make sure you subscribe to the Home Rig Share YouTube channel, and make sure you also go to Instagram and follow them at Home Rig Share. And hey, while you're over there, why don't you follow me on Instagram as well at electric.flamingo, and then come back to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Electric Flamingo. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, and we're back to my normal kind of position here in front of the camera. So if you ever watch any of my other videos, or if you go to watch any after this one, this is kind of where you'll see me. So as you saw from that initial roll through, I have a lot of guitars. In fact, you can see the rack in the background, which showcases most of them. So since we're doing a studio tour, I figured it'd be fun to just kind of go through each one of them one at a time, tell you what they are, kind of why they're here, all that kind of good stuff, and then give you a little bit of a playing demo, maybe give you some B-roll with them, just so you can kind of see what they look like from different lighting, different angle, all that good stuff. So enough talking about it, let's go ahead and grab one and get into it. So all you eagle-eyed viewers out there may have noticed that there's a shape on my rack that makes a repeat appearance. 5 times, as a matter of fact. And that shape is the ever iconic Les Paul. So why the Les Paul? Well, we can thank this guitar for that. This is my Epiphone Les Paul Traditional Pro 2. It is the first Les Paul that I ever owned, and it's an amazing guitar. It also holds a lot of sentimental value to me as well. I got it as a Christmas present, and it's the first Les Paul I ever owned, so I mean, it's here to stay. It's an awesome guitar. I've learned a lot on it. I've learned how to love a Les Paul on this thing. I've learned how to love a 50s chunky neck, and yeah, you give me like a 50s Les Paul, and I'm gonna instantly fall in love with it, pretty much thanks to this thing. So the next guitar I have for you is another kind of special Les Paul that I own, and it's this one right here. So this is my Epiphone Les Paul 1956 or 56 Pro. The Pro in this case standing for Pro P90s. So this is the first Les Paul that I ever owned with P90s. In fact, it's the first guitar I've ever owned with P90s. And this is the guitar that's made me fall in love with P90 pickups. Like, I used to kind of scoff at them, like I don't want that. I want humbuckers, gotta have humbuckers. But after playing this thing, it just has changed my perspective completely. And P90s are just one of those things that you can't live without. So fun fact, this guitar was actually in a music video. The video that I'm referencing obviously is Clockwork Wolf and Company, that's the band. The music video for the song Long Way to Fall. Clockwork Wolf and Company is Rob Chapman's band, and he had put out a thing saying, you know, hey, this is what the music video is gonna be. It's a bunch of different people playing, but I am in that music video playing this guitar. So I just thought that was cool. Aside from, you know, being what it is, it's really cool to say, hey, music video guitar. So I'm gonna run through this next one kind of quickly because it's the same guitar as the last one, but man, Is it pretty? So this again is another 1956 Epiphone Les Paul Pro. Again, Pro meaning Pro P90s. So electronically, construction wise, everything, it feels exactly the same. It sounds pretty much exactly the same as the black one we just looked at, except this one is in this stunning candy apple red color, which, doing some research, this color is extremely hard to find. So I got super lucky when I found this guitar, and I had to have it, not even for that reason. I didn't know that before I bought it. Here's why I have this guitar, even though it's exactly like the black one that I have. So I'm a really big fan of Jared James Nichols, and you know, he has a bunch of guitars, Les Pauls, right? But there's one in particular that he has that has caught my eye, and the allure of it is just so awesome. That, of course, being his 1954, I believe, Gibson Les Paul that he is called Old Red. Now, I always said if Epiphone were to release like a signature model of that guitar, I would buy it in a heartbeat. And then I was browsing Guitar Center used one day and saw this and was like, what? And I mean, I got it. I didn't even think about it. Pulled the trigger on it immediately, and it's just awesome. So yeah, that's the whole reason that I own this guitar, even though it's pretty much exactly like that. And the fact that it's a really rare color is pretty cool too. All right, on to the next guitar. So this one kind of falls in the camp of the other two that I just showed you, because it's another P90 loaded Les Paul, but this one you can tell is a little different. So this is my Korean made Epiphone Les Paul 56 Gold Top. Now this one is also kind of special to me because this is the first Gold Top Les Paul that I've ever owned. And it's also the very first Korean made Epiphone that I've ever owned. So if you're not a big fan of Epiphone, or you don't really understand a lot of Epiphone stuff, basically Epiphones have been made all over the place in the past. They've been made in, you know, China, Korea. There's some made in Japan, which are like top notch, like they're awesome guitars. They've been made all over the place, right? And mainly you see the Chinese ones and the Korean ones, and the Korean ones have a little bit of a lure to them because of the way they feel. So I had always heard that Korean made Epiphones are just really, really nice instruments to play. They feel great, they're awesome, and I can attest, owning this, that that is the case. This thing feels really nice. I just recently cleaned it up, polished the frets and everything. So yeah, it used to have a cream pick guard on it. I still have it. I took it off whenever I was doing some work on it, and I just really, really liked the way that it looked. So I decided to keep it off. You can see the hole there, and probably on the side, yeah, right there. But yeah, this is the very first Gold Top that I ever owned, the very first Korean made Epiphone that I ever owned, and it's just such a joy to have. This thing weighs a ton. My arms are getting tired, so let's see what it sounds like before my arms fall off. So this is the last Les Paul of the bunch, and I think it's probably the most interesting one. So this is my Epiphone Les Paul Custom Classic, or it may be called a Classic Custom. It's different things online. I'm not entirely sure, but it's one of those two. Anyway, off the bat, you may have noticed a couple of things about it. Mainly the aged yellow binding that is all around the body, the neck, and the headstock. The other weird thing you may have noticed, speaking of the headstock, is that it's got an SG crown on it. So when I saw this thing on Guitar Center used, I was like, what is that? I'm gonna buy it and find out. So I took the gamble on it being something that, you know, is completely fake or whatever, but no, this is a real deal Epiphone. It's one of the best Epiphones I've ever played. So they actually made two versions of these. They made one with the custom diamond on the headstock, and then they made one like this. And the one with the SG crown on it is actually the better of the two. Why, you may ask? Gibson pickups. You get a 490R and a 498T in the one with the SG crown on it. So if you're looking for one of these, unless you find one that has the custom diamond that's been upgraded, always go with this one because it's gonna have the Gibson pickups in it. Now with this one in particular, the previous owner gutted the electronics and switched everything out. So it's got a Switchcraft switch on it here. It's got CTS pots in it. It's got actual Kluson tuners on it. I mean, awesome. I believe he may have switched out this neck pickup as well. I think it's some kind of Seymour Duncan. I'm not sure. I'm not taking it out to look at it, but it's still got the original 498T in the bridge, so that's cool. So sticking in the realm of Epiphone, but out of the realm of Les Pauls, kind of, we are going to now SGs. So this is my Epiphone SG G400 Pro. This is also a very special guitar to me because it's the first SG that I've ever owned. SGs are funny guitars to me because I wanted an SG for so long and I just could not find one that resonated with me. I didn't like SGs for a long, long time. Then one day I walked into a local guitar center. This was hanging there for about 170 bucks. So I said, okay, I'll try it. Picked it up and it's awesome. This thing is an awesome, awesome guitar. If you look at the headstock here, it's named Megan, which is my wife's name, but in quotes right there, says something else. And the reason that I called this guitar that, I bought this guitar on her birthday one year. She got a gift, don't worry, it was a good birthday. But I bought this guitar, just so happened to be her birthday that day. And I said, you know what? That's part of your birthday present. I'm gonna name this guitar after you. So if you accidentally buy a guitar, or purposely, if you buy a guitar on your spouse's birthday, just name it after them and they'll think it's cool. And then you get to keep it. But anyway, so this one's gone through a complete gut job. It's had the pots ripped out, the switch, everything ripped out. So it's got Switchcraft output jack, Switchcraft switch, CTS pots, and then it's got a DiMarzio Air Classic in the bridge. And that has livened this thing up greatly. The neck pickup is stock and it will stay that way because that is one of the best neck pickups I have ever heard in my life. This SG rips. It is absolutely awesome. Okay, everybody, so we're out of the realm of Epiphone for now. But this next guitar is really, really interesting because it's my first kind of experience with modding. And when I say modding, I mean all the way modding. So this thing has seen better days. This guitar is my Jackson King V. It really is a Jackson. It doesn't say it up there, but it really is a Jackson King V. It started life as just a regular black Jackson King V. So when I was younger, I wanted a V just really badly. I'd played a bunch of flying Vs and loved them. And then this was in a local shop that is no longer around. And I saw it was a good price and I said, okay, I've got the cash, so I'll buy it. I'd actually put it on layaway and I paid about half of it and then my mom covered the rest because I was like 16 at the time, something like that. But yeah, this thing has seen better days. Like I said, this is like the fourth paint job that it's had. It's got a shim in the neck. It's got some cheap Wilkinson pickups in there because I just needed to have some pickups in there. When it was original, I had something stopped working in it and it didn't have any sound. I think it was just the jack here, but again, being like 16 years old, I just cut all the electronics out and yeah, that was it. It just sat as a husk for years and years until I finally decided to do something. But it's got CTS pots in it. It's got a pretty good switch in it. I'm gonna switch the pickups out at some point. It's got a roller bridge on it. So as it stands, I mean, it plays pretty well. Doesn't sound the greatest, but it plays. All right, time to get back into it. We're back in Epiphone land, except not another Les Paul or an SG. This is an Explorer, and this is actually one of my most recent acquisitions. So you may have noticed in my little run-through video at the very beginning, you saw a Gibson case back there. This is what was in it. It was really cool when I bought it. It said it came with a case, but I didn't know it came with a 90s Gibson case, a 90s Gibson Explorer case. Apparently those are really sought after, and that alone goes for like, you know, $300-400 used. So I only paid about $400 for this guitar in the case. So ultimately I got a free guitar with a really cool case, which I'm happy with. But yeah, so this is an Epiphone Explorer. This is the second Korean guitar that I've ever owned, and it is the same thing. I mean, it plays really, really nicely. The electronics are really shoddy in this thing, meaning the pickups suck. They really do. They're not good at all. They're really, really thin. They're really, really weak. I don't like them. This is the first guitar that's gonna be a major upgrade video that I have planned for my YouTube channel. In fact, the parts on it sucked so bad that I took off this output jack and it just broke. I thought there might have been a problem with this and it just broke. So I had to replace that. Fortunately, I had a Switchcraft one laying around, so I just soldered that in and it works, but it doesn't sound great. And last, but certainly not least, for my guitars, this is a guitar I never thought I would own just because it's so out there, but I'm glad that I own it. I'm glad that I pulled the trigger on it and that I took the risk with it because this is a really, really fun guitar to have. So this is a Dean Dime Razorback, and this guitar has single-handedly made me a fan of Dean. Dean is one of those brands that I never really gave any kind of attention to. But this one has made me take a second look and realize that they make some really good guitars for not a lot of money. Now this one is brand new. It's a 2021 model, and I got it for practically nothing because the output jack was missing. So the way it was described to me, I got this from Guitar Center. It was on scratch and dent. It was hanging on the wall, listed as brand new, and it is. Serial number confirms it. The wires for the output jack were just kind of hanging out. And I was like, what happened here? He said some guy bought it, tried to replace it, I guess got frustrated and brought it back. So they put it on scratch and dent, and that's that. So I bought it, went on Amazon that same day and bought this like kind of sketchy speaker cab cover because it kind of looked like the one that comes on these to begin with. And it, to my surprise, came with a Switchcraft output jack. So I was like, yay. Soldered it in, spent about 10 minutes doing that, and this thing screams. These Dean pickups are really, really cool. I love the all black. I love the razor blade on the 12th inlay. I love the like grips on the volume knobs down here. That just looks really, really cool. So yeah, probably the strangest guitar that I own, but it's really, really fun to play. And it sounds really cool too. And that is it, people. My Pink Room of Doom. I hope you enjoyed this video and this little journey that I got to go on. I had a really, really good time doing it. So thank you again, Paul, over at Home Rig Share, for giving me the opportunity to make this video. Please make sure you subscribe to the Home Rig Share YouTube channel. Make sure you follow him on Instagram, and also follow me on Instagram at electric.flamingo, and also subscribe to me on YouTube, Electric Flamingo. So again, my name is Jonathan from the Electric Flamingo channel on YouTube, here for Home Rig Share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.